Today we're talking about exits. So we dealt with the entrances, we dealt with the offside, we dealt with the onside entrance. Now we're going to deal with the exit. But let's talk about why dogs pop out. So dogs pop out for a variety of reasons. There's a host of reasons, and slowing down your video and figuring out why they're popping out would be very valuable. So if you've got a 10th pole pop out or a dog that pops out on 4 or 5, definitely get some video and scrutinize it, analyze it right when they start to pop out. So you watch their eyes, watch their face shift, even maybe their foot posture shift. As soon as that starts to happen, freeze frame it and see what's going on, and then go frame by frame to see what they're looking at, what they're doing. Generally speaking, dogs pop out for a variety of reasons. One, lack of clarity. They seriously don't understand their job in the weed pulls. They haven't been built up in duration of the weed pulls enough. Distraction, so environmental drift, so things that are happening around them can get them. Most likely it's motion. Your motion is causing some sort of visual catch from the dog, and dogs always have motion at the top of their chart of what to pay attention to. And so in the weed pulls, we want this to be an independent obstacle. And so if you are in there helping them through the weed pulls, your motion is even more critical, because you can't do anything outside the norm until they're completed with the weed pulls. And so for me, I personally want a ton of independence on this weed pull. Basically, once you enter this weed pull, keep going until the last pull disappears, then figure out what I'm doing. But I also think that dogs can do the weed pulls, learn their weed pulls, learn independence, and also keep the upcoming side change in mind as they're traveling through this section of the weed pulls. So I'm only going to demonstrate on 6 just because it fits into a video frame better, but you can utilize this for 12 pulls as well. So my opinion of why I think dogs pop out more on the onside, going this direction, than the offside, is because generally speaking, when the dogs are in this area, handlers start to perform their side changes. And so they will start to move off towards the next obstacle, or start to perform the front cross, or start to perform the blind cross. And so as we're moving through here, our foot posture may be that we're starting to rotate either laterally away from them, or starting to shift our hands slightly for the blind cross. And as they're getting to here, they're seeing that, and so from here, this pull is the only one that they need to continue around, and so they will come through and snag and move. And so the offside, because of the handler starting to do the side change through here, dog's pretty much already committed, they'll continue to go. If they're going to pull out, they're pulling out on this pull. And so it's possible, but it's less likely. Whereas when they're on this side, they have to continue this last pull, and the handler is preparing for whatever side change. And so this independence to continue going around this last pull is absolutely required for the dog to not pop out right through the 10th pull, right? If this was 12, this would be the 10th pull, or through here on the 4th pull. Or you can consider it the 11th pull or the 5th pull as well. So how do we deal with that? How do we help our dogs stay in the pulls throughout, through the duration of the weed pulls, regardless of what we're doing? We have to have some independence. We absolutely have to have some independence. And in order to get independence, we have to train our dogs that our motion, our movement, our lateral position, our spinning doesn't play into how they run these. And so generally speaking, anticipation and motion are two of your big things that you need to address. And if you're not addressing them, then you'll continue to have to manage your exit and not perform your side change until they're completed. So in the very beginning, what I do is I introduce on the very beginning for my entrances, you saw that I was already introducing motion. And so as they're learning their weave pulls all the way through 6 weave pulls, I will continue this motion with my dogs. And so I'll change it up. I'll do a variety of stuff, moving towards what I want on a side change for a front cross or a blind cross. So as they enter, my hands will continue to move as they go through. And I will start to take on a variety of handling positions. I'll even walk backwards with them. That's the beginning of showing them we're going to do a front cross. So getting them in and starting to, yeah, good job, or throwing cookies forward, depending on where they're at in their skill level. As I start to ask for distraction, I will also start to bug them. So I'll come in close on them and say, ignore me, do your job, ignore me. I'm kind of right behind you, bugging you. And I want them to just continue forward, ignoring me. The other thing that I do is I start to take lateral positions. So moving away from my dog as they're going through the weave pulls. And I do that right from the very beginning. I don't wait for them to get all the way on 6 or all the way on 12 before I start to introduce that. So that's one thing, introducing that distraction, introducing different positions on my part in relation to my dog in the pulls. The other thing that I'll do is I'll make sure that they're completely independent. Like, can I just stand here and have my dog go all the way through? And if I can't stand still with my dog going all the way through, then they're going to pull out right around pull 4 if they're not completely independent. And so teaching them that you can do this without me is the beginning of the 10th pull pop out. Is go ahead and keep going while I stand still. So addressing motion, addressing lack of motion, because lack of motion is a deceleration cue, it's a turning cue. And so with the weave pulls, we want them to continue forward regardless of what we do. Think of it just like being a dog walk, right? You want them to keep going forward even though you're falling behind potentially with some of our faster dogs. All right, so one of the biggest things about the 10th pull pop out is the anticipation. Dogs start anticipating the exit. They start anticipating the food that's going to be thrown. They start anticipating going on in the course. They start anticipating the side change coming up. So anticipation on their part is huge. So not only are they watching your motion to figure out, oh, are you throwing? Are you running? Are you side changing? Are you pulling away laterally? Not only do they pay attention to our motion, but they also just naturally anticipate. Like once they get a pattern going, weave pulls are a pattern. Once you get that weave pull pattern going, they figure out very quickly something's happening after the weave pulls, because generally speaking, something happens after the weave pulls. And so teaching our dogs how not to anticipate, how to complete the obstacle, it's a trained thing for a lot of dogs. I would say for most dogs, you want to teach anticipation, the ability to not anticipate, to stay in the pulls even though they want to drive forward, teaching them that it's okay, keep doing your job even though there's something out there that you want. So I work specifically on pay attention to the pulls, ignore what's in front of you, do your job, and then you'll be rewarded. And so I do that in a variety of ways it's essentially all distraction training, really, but utilizing something that a target plate or a toy, something that is on the exit. So quick. See how quick they are? Something that's on the exit that, yes, it's out there, and yes, you will be rewarded on it or with it, but finish this job first. So if you have a dog that will come out of the pulls and grab the toy, or come out of the pulls and take whatever cookie is there, then you have to protect that cookie in the beginning. You have to protect the item that they're going to grab. So you either have to work with somebody else, or you have to be creative in how you dispense your cookies. So manners minders work great because it's a remote control. Dogs learn very quickly that don't bother going for it until it's depressed. But sometimes we want them driving with the anticipation that they can get it. And so I like to do a variety of things, and it really depends on the dog here, because dogs who are willing to grab this bag and fight you for it, you can't just lay it on the ground and let it be without prior training around that. So I would encourage you to do prior training. But so when I'll take a bag of cookies, like, yeah, this is for you, and I'll put it out there. That is what you're going for. When we get there, we'll open it together and I'll give it to you. Other ways that you can do it is to take something like a Tupperware, put a cookie in there, make sure that they can see it, make sure that they know it's there, close the lid on it. I like clear bins, empty container that used to have cookies in it from Costco. I use one of these so they can see the treats in it. You can close it up, and unless you have a dog that's willing to fight you for this, or can easily open containers, or will pick it up and steal it, this is a great way to go for dogs that aren't going to take it away and play on their own. So you definitely want something that's suitable to your dog for this. But having this out here, asking our dogs to weave. Right here. Ready? 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 Weave. 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 Yeah! Good boy! Super! Super job. Excellent. Letting them get the cookies out by themselves. Yeah, you're so smart. Good boy. Can I put it off to the side? Yeah. Right here, bud. Right here. Weave. 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 Yeah! Get the cookie. Get right there. Yeah! Good boy. Super. Get him. Good job. So you can do the same thing with the bag. Just getting them used to, yes, this is for you, if you ignore it. So I'm going to put it over here this time. You're so smart. Weave, weave, weave. Yeah, get it. Super, super. Get it. Good job. Super. So easy. You don't need a manners minder, but this, you got to get to it to dispense it, and just letting them eat out of it. And if they're willing to do that, perhaps they're willing to do this. So having a cookie just on one target plate. Now you can see that he doesn't take cookies that he's not allowed. I mean, I've done this since he was 8 weeks old. Is that, yes, there's a bag out there. You don't bother going for it, because I'm going to protect it if you do. But I started with literally a clear container and taught him how to walk past it with cookies inside of it. So it's just a trained behavior. He's not some miracle dog who's totally awesome. No, he's trained. I trained him literally every day, most days. I trained him. Once they are willing to have the lid on it, is can you put a cookie down on a target plate? Now I call this a not yet or a hold on, and I'll cover it. Right? So just can you do your weave poles with this covered? And as he gets better, can I send him down the poles and back up without coming down here? So yeah, this way, behind. Weave. Yeah, get it. Good. You get it right there. Good. Now, when you do an open target plate, even with just a simple cover on it, make sure that you only put one cookie down to begin with, and then you bring more cookies to the party plate. So cookies down. And if you're wondering how I help motivate dogs that need help driving through the poles, this is one way that I do it. Now, for dogs that have not been taught how to work around distraction target plates, you definitely want to start that not on weave poles. You want to start that on just simple behaviors like sit, down, spin, twirl, stuff like that, before you take it to a jump, before you take it to a tunnel, and then before you take it to weave poles. Because this is definitely difficult, but it is worth it to teach a dog how to drive towards a target plate. weave. Get it, get it, get it. Ah, good boy. All right, now he also has an oops cue. So an oops, that's not it. And so if he does something that is incorrect in his behavior, this mostly affects our contacts currently. But it has, you know, I have used it on weave pulls, is he gets a real gentle, oops, try again. And oops, try again generally means, yeah, the answer that you just gave me wasn't correct. However, you're not in trouble. We're not done training. Let's try it again. And again, I do this on simple behaviors because you have to build up resiliency. He is a very sensitive dog, and if he's told he's incorrect too many times in a row, then I absolutely have to find a moment when he can be correct, because he will leave the game if I tell him too many times that he's incorrect. And so, one, set your dog up for as much success as possible, but also they can learn the oops, try again can help build resiliency. Another thing to work through with your dogs if they're doing the 10-pole pop out is to work opposite motion or opposing motion. So opposing motion will help your dog understand that they can do their job while you go someplace else. And so starting opposing motion with jump training, with tunnel training, will help your dog in the weave pulls. If you go right out of the gate into weave pull training with opposing motion, they're probably going to struggle because they need to understand the concept that you can go one direction while I go another. So you can even just start it on a toy or a food. So let me show you on food how you can start this on food. So sit, good. Get a target plate, put a cookie down on the target plate, and facing your dog. You can go any direction, but I'm going to go ahead and go this direction. I'm going to give him permission to go while I go that way. Then I'm going to reward him for going, and then give him permission to get it, and then I'm going to reward him for coming back to me. Get it? Ah, good boy. So learning how to, one, you're doing so much good stuff when you're doing this training here. So it's good is you're working your stay for one, which is really good. Giving him permission to get off of a target plate, so building up your target plate, and then working opposing motion at the exact same time. Get it? Oh, you're going to be pulled. Good boy, right here. Right here. Right here. Sit. Sit. Good. Good boy. Get it. Get it. Yeah, good boy. Not only gives them permission to continue moving, opposing you, but then you can bring it into your weave pulls as well, right? When you start opposing motion, just start simple. Don't go for out of the gate. Wait for them to be committed. So get them into the load zone. So this is my load zone, 1, 2, 3, a little bit of 4. Get them into the load zone, then you start moving in that direction. Do watch them, make sure that they do complete the pulls, and as soon as they're done with that last pull, go ahead and reward them and encourage them to come back to you. So you do have to have some good entrances for this though, because you want to start with them with you in their visual. So you want to start with you in their visual and them seeing that they can go forward while you go the opposite direction. Weave, 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 yeah! Oh, no, I don't want to go back. Weave, 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 yeah! Good boy! Weave, 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 yes! Good boy! Notice that I kind of turn into him, watching him. That helps to keep telling him you're going that direction. So if I have both of my shoulders facing this direction, it's much harder. If I start to rotate as I watch him, then not only do I have him coming out in the correct direction, but it helps support him on that downward spiral. He has to go all the way around that last pole and come out this direction, which can be very difficult for some dogs. Weave, 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 yeah, good. Weave, 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 yeah, super. Weave, 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 yeah, super. So if he struggled with my opposing motion, I could put something down here to help drive him down. Just there. Sending him up. Now he has to have good skills to not grab it if he's incorrect, which he does. Otherwise, use something that you can cover, or you can drop a toy down there if you're skilled at that. Weave. Yeah, get it. Get it. Yeah, weave. Yeah. Another great thing that you can train them to do is you spinning. So don't get vertigo on me, but you spinning through the weave pulls, because when you're traveling down the weave pulls, if they can handle this, they can handle a front cross, right? That is our front cross move. So we're traveling down the weave pulls, we rotate into them and around. That is our front cross move. And then if we rotate the other direction, if we rotate counterclockwise, we are doing our blind cross move. So coming down, you're on our right hand, switching to our left, that's your blind cross move. So teaching them that you can rotate while you're while they're in the pulls. If you can't do it on 6, you're not going to be able to do it on 12 most likely, because they're getting fatigued. The duration is setting in, the anticipation is setting in. So start this on 6, then move it to 12. And if they're struggling, then I would encourage you to get a partner to train with, and the partner spins while you handle. So just learning to ignore the environment around them, and then once they can do it with a partner, then they can also do it with you. The other is, toy movement, right? Like, can they handle toy movement? Can they handle treat bag movement? All of those things. Get very, very creative in your distraction training, because if they can do distractions, then they can do a heck of a lot more in a trial environment. And they can handle your side changes a lot more, because that's basically all your side changes is a distraction to them. It's movement with a distraction. And so getting them used to that movement distraction stuff is really, really valuable. So I'm going to do a spin with him. So I'll start with our onside. I'm going to spin in a counterclockwise direction as he starts to get into pull number 3. Ready? Weave. Yeah, good. Now I'm going to spin in a clockwise direction. Weave. Yeah, good boy. Super. It's harder because you can't actually see them while you're in it. So you may need to train with a partner to make sure that they stay in if they're new to this. Weave. Yeah, good boy. Counterclockwise. Ready? Weave. Yes, good boy. I would start to add motion into that when I'm on 12, right? With 6 pulls, you don't have a whole lot of movement, a lot of space for movement, right? And so I would start to add in motion along with that spinning on 12 pulls. All right, that's it. Well done.